2025. This is the 16th meeting of 2025 and the 45th regular meeting of the current term of the Metropolitan Council of Nashville and Davidson County. Will all members of the council, as well as the public, please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation is being offered this evening by the Reverend Ingrid McIntyre. Reverend McIntyre is the pastor of Glen Cliff United Methodist Church and is the guest of Council Member at Large Olivia Hill. You're recognized.
Thank you, council members, and thank you, Vice Mayor Henderson. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, Allah, Yahweh, source of all compassion and justice, we gather today in gratitude for this city that we call home and for these leaders who have been elected into the sacred responsibility of serving Nashville's people. We thank you for the gift of freedom, freedom to speak, to worship, to dream, and to build community together. Help us use this freedom wisely, remembering that true liberty flourishes when we care for one another, especially those who are most vulnerable among us. Lord, you have entrusted us with this land, these neighborhoods, these streets, these sacred spaces where families make their homes. Guide our leaders as they make decisions about development and growth, that they may act as faithful stewards, ensuring that progress serves all residents, not just the privileged few. We lift up those in our community who live in fear, families torn apart by enforcement actions, immigrants who contribute so much to our city's vitality, yet face uncertainty each day. Give our leaders wisdom to create policies rooted in compassion and justice, recognizing the dignity of every person who calls Nashville home. We pray against any overreach that diminishes local voices or undermines our community's ability to care for its own. Strengthen our leaders to advocate boldly for policies that reflect our values and meet our neighbors' needs. May they govern not from a distance, but with genuine understanding of how their choices affect real families, real children, real lives. We pray for an economy where each one who works in the city might earn a living wage, enough to afford housing, healthcare, and hope for their children's futures. Make us a city where hard work is met with dignity and stability. Source of all justice, as costs rise and longtime residents are pushed out, we wrestle with the question, how can we stay in a city that doesn't prioritize its people? Transform this struggle into determination. Help us build a Nashville that welcomes newcomers while protecting longtime residents, that grows while preserving community, that prospers while ensuring no one is ignored. We are grateful for these council members who we have elected. Grant them wisdom to discern what is good, courage to pursue what is moral, and persistence to do what is right, even when it is difficult. May they be guided not by political winds and lobbyists, but by love for this community and our collective commitment to justice. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend McIntyre. All right. Welcome, council members and members of the community. I hope everyone had a restful Labor Day celebration this past weekend. I appreciate Pro Tem Sepulveda administering her last announcement portion of our meeting this evening and for her doing the same over the last year. So again, thank you to her. Councilmember Sepulveda is kindly going to be organizing council's participation in Nashville's Labor Day Parade this coming Saturday. So I hope Nashvillians and members will make plans to attend and celebrate all the people who work so hard day in and day out to make Nashville and our country run. and the hard-fought gains of union organizing, which many now take for granted, such as overtime pay, sick leave, child labor laws, and actual weekends. There are many more working people in America than there are oligarchs, and all people have a common cause in supporting policies that support people and support our democracy. This meeting, with several new committee chairs and many elections, marks a midpoint in our service this term. Some might say that that midpoint or 2-year mark is September 30th, when council and the mayor and I were inaugurated, or our first October meeting, as that was the first meeting of this term in 2023. But no matter where you strike that halfway mark, as of August 31st, 2027, this term will end. The learning curve for council service is steep. And even as this midpoint of the term is a time for reflection and things leveling out somewhat, it also marks a point at which, in my own experience, many district council members are starting to feel a bit underwater with the heavy load of aggregating issues. So I may be mixing metaphors here, but I want to say that I appreciate all council members' hard work these last 2 years. I remain optimistic that this body is going to keep swimming forward and do even more good policy work together in the remaining 2 years of this term. All right. Without objection, we will suspend the calling of the roll and ask the clerk to please record the names of the members present throughout the meeting. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes of the meeting of August 19th, 2025? Okay, there's a motion properly seconded without objection. And seeing no one seeking to be recognized for a change to the minutes of the meeting of August 19th are approved. Mr. Clerk, are there any messages from the mayor?
There are no messages from the mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Clerk. All righty. Now we are moving into section E of our agenda, elections for certain positions of leadership in service and representation of the council. First, among those positions is President Pro Tem. This is an election for a 1-year term. Council members will have received via email and on your desks as well letters of qualification from those folks who are nominated and seeking those positions. So I know that you have all reviewed those letters as part of your consideration. Following with our kind of tradition and format, we will as well at this time as we move through these elections acknowledge the nominator first of the person running for the position. There are 3 minutes. The nominator could speak for all that time. They could speak for 5 seconds and cede to the nominee. Those combined folks could speak for 1 minute or 30 seconds or however you want to combine that. But the nominator will be acknowledged first, okay? For those 2 speaking opportunities, at which point then we will move to our votes. Council members' tablets are set to our election voting software. All right, so first for President Pro Tem, again, a 1-year term, the nominees are Councilmember Russ Bradford and Councilmember Delisha Porterfield. Councilmember Bradford was nominated by Councilmember at Large Olivia Hill. Ms. Hill, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. This election matters. For the first time, we have an opportunity to choose an openly LGBT pro tem. Representation matters, not just what it symbolizes, but how that it shapes leadership, inclusion, and injustice. When members of the LGBT community see themselves reflected in leadership, it sends a message that you belong here, your voice counts, and your future matters. Representation is not only about identity, it's about representation. Leadership in marginalized communities carries lived experiences, strength, and body. It also reminds us that every policy debate, every budget we pass, every real person we touch is deeply and personal in many ways. I would like to take the rest of my time and kick it back to Mr. Bradford and allow him to finish this up in the way that he would like to do it best.
Absolutely. Mr. Bradford, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and thank you for those kind words, Councilmember. I'm honored to have been nominated for this role by Councilmember Hill. Over the years, I've had the privilege of serving as chair of multiple committees, most recently government operations, and before that, what was then public facilities. I've had the opportunity to serve as vice chair twice of public facilities and as then public works. I currently serve as the chair of our LGBTQ caucus, and I've served as vice chair and secretary of that body as well. During those times, I've worked to build consensus and deliver results and ensure that every voice has been heard. I'm also proud to have earned the trust and support from colleagues across the political, social, and geographical spectrum of this county. That broad base of support reflects not only my leadership style, but also the belief that our strength comes from when we work together. If chosen as pro tem, my intention is not only to fulfill the responsibilities of the office, but also elevate the role to ensure that it functions as a strong and consistent voice from this council body to the vice mayor and mayor. I believe pro tem should be able to help bridge communication, strengthen collaboration, and ensure that the priorities of this body are clearly represented at every level of leadership. And to echo, at a time when our LGBTQ communities are being attacked across the state and this nation, representation truly matters. We've made a point this term to raise up marginalized communities and show them that we are here and we care for them. So serving as pro tem is not just about procedure. It's about ensuring that all of our communities know that they belong here and that this council will continue to stand for inclusion, equity, and justice. I ask for y'all's support, and I thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Bradford. Next, Councilmember Delisha Porterfield was nominated by Councilwoman Quante Toombs. Ms. Toombs, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I nominated Councilwoman Delisha Porterfield because the pro tem position is a pivotal, oh my gosh, I can't speak, is an important position in the body. It's not just handling the announcement period. This is the position where if something were to happen to our vice mayor for whatever reason, this person would step into that position and lead this body. So when you're thinking about who you want to serve as pro tem, you have to think about who would you want to serve in the event that the vice mayor could not. You need someone who has a steady hand, who is reasonable, who knows how to work with all of our colleagues within this body, regardless of ideological backgrounds. Councilwoman Porterfield led what is probably the most important committee on the body, which is the Budget and Finance Committee. She led it for 2 years in a row. She was able to successfully pass a substitute budget by listening to her colleagues, by taking in everyone's input and producing a moral document that represented the values of all of us as elected officials, as well as a city. And that's the type of leadership you need in the pro tem seat. Having served in that seat myself, that's the type of leader I would like to see. And that's why I've nominated Councilwoman Porterfield, and I'd like to yield the rest of my time to her.
Right. Ms. Porterfield, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and thank you, Council Lady Toombs, for not only the nomination, but for those very kind words. It's like you were in my mind. You said a lot of what I wanted to say, but again, just really wanted to lift up that in the uncertain environment that we are in, it is very crucial to think about, in an unfortunate event that the pro tem is elevated to a position of having to serve as vice mayor, wanting to make sure that you have someone that is able to work with everyone. I will say that we have a variety of beliefs on this body. I think we see that every meeting, but I have been able to work with people regardless of their political beliefs, and just being able to bring people together to try to move the body forward. And that is something that I would like to be able to bring to the role of pro tem, and would love the opportunity to serve the body. And with that, I would ask my colleagues for their support.
Thank you, Ms. Porterfield. Okay. With that, colleagues, nominators and nominees having spoken, we will now move to the vote. Mr. Clerk, if you would please open the vote. Mr. Eastlick and Ms. Stiles, are you seeking to vote? All votes are in. Mr. Clerk, please show the votes. All right, that means a tie-break vote does go to me, and I am going to use that vote and vote for Ms. Porterfield. All right, with that tie-break vote, that would be 19 votes for Ms. Porterfield, 18 for Mr. Bradford, and 1 abstention. I want to express my thanks to both members for putting themselves forward. Let's please thank and congratulate as well Mr. Bradford for his willingness to serve. Thank you, Mr. Bradford. And thank you, Ms. Porterfield, Pro Tem. All right. Next, item E2, our Planning and Zoning Committee Chair, who also serves as the council's representative on the Planning Commission. This is a position established by our charter. It is a 2-year term. The nominees are Councilmember Rollin Horton, who was nominated by Quante Toombs, and Councilmember John Rutherford, who was nominated by Councilmember Cortez. First, then, to you, Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized as Mr. Horton's nominator. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. As we know, Nashville, like many cities across this country, is facing a housing crisis. We've been told that we need 90,000 units over the next 10 years. There is no way for us to do that on the path that we're currently on. We need to make bold choices. We need to think outside of the box. And I think the best candidate to do that is Councilmember Rollin Horton, which is why I nominated him. He has shown that he is not afraid to step out there, even in the face of adversity, even in the midst of angst, and even in the midst of community backlash. I remember at a National League of Cities conference, there was a city giving a presentation on all their success with affordable housing, and the question was, so how do you get past the NIMBYism, the folks who are against it, and the people giving the presentation said sometimes you have to just do what is right. And I think that Councilman Horton has the courage to do what is right, to listen to his colleagues, to listen to the community, but to ultimately do what is right. And I wholeheartedly support him as planning chair, and I yield the rest of my time to him.
Thank you, Ms. Toombs. Mr. Horton, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Our city has a cost of living crisis. Less than 9% of Nashvillians can afford a typical home in Nashville. It's even worse for our minority communities. Less than 1% of Black and Hispanic families can afford a typical home here. When I was knocking on doors, I met a constituent who was working part-time but full-time hours at Walmart. He wasn't scheduled for several shifts, and due to the lost paycheck, ended up losing his home. He ended up homeless, living out of his car, still working full-time hours at Walmart until his aunt found out about it and forced him to move in with her, which is where I met him. While I was speaking with him, he told me something that stuck with me. He said, Nashville is a place where if you get knocked down, it makes it very hard to get back up again. It doesn't have to be this way. Our housing problem is a policy problem. It is the result of decisions, ones that we have made, and it's one that we have failed to make. We have the opportunity to change those decisions and make new ones. There is not a one-size-fits-all solution, and Davidson County is a big place. What works in Bordeaux or Bellevue or Green Hills may not work downtown, and vice versa. It takes a very strategic and very intentional approach. And that approach doesn't just involve some of us, it involves all of us. The housing crisis is at the intersection of every problem that we face: car traffic and congestion, homelessness, cost of living crisis. When we fail to address housing, we fail to address each of these issues. Thank you.
Okay, the nominees and nominators having spoken. Oh, I'm so sorry. I do apologize. Getting ahead of myself, y'all. I was recalling that Mr. Cortez is not with us this evening as Mr. Rutherford's nominator, and so we will go straight to Mr. Rutherford. Go ahead, please, sir. My apologies.
Thank you, Madam President. That's quite all right. And I also want to thank Councilmember Cortez for making the nomination. I've had the unique honor of serving as Vice Chair of the Planning and Zoning Committee under two different chairs, and I've learned a great deal. With the urgent need for new housing and passionate debate over how we grow as a city, along with the impending changes to this body by the state, experience in this role matters now more than ever. We've had a lot of conversation lately around density. I'm not opposed to density, as the tremendous growth in my district shows. Over the last decade, the Southeast has grown more than any other part of the city. For the last 6 years, I have focused much of my efforts on density on the major thoroughfares. I have handled many rezonings. I know what district members face in the rezoning process. As the voice of this council on the Planning Commission, I will always be mindful of the efforts of the district member. Much of my work as District 31's council member has been devoted to smart growth. I seek common ground between my constituents and developers because timely, transparent communication is key. As we now begin the work of going through the planning department's recommendations of the housing and infrastructure study, community engagement is crucial. I will work with planning to ensure that council members' voices and any concerns from the districts are heard. Building upon the letter I submitted that is on your desk, Nashville is blessed in so many ways, but we still have work to do. A proven, steady hand is needed now more than ever. Far too many people who work here can't afford housing here, while others in our city are struggling just to stay in their homes. I intend to be a chair with no agenda other than for our policy to match our compassion. As I weighed the decision to offer myself for this post, I considered all the related responsibilities and time commitments. I am fully prepared to take on this role and will devote myself to serving all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. All right. With that, and both nominees having spoken, Mr. Clerk, if you will please load the vote. With all votes in, Mr. Clerk, please show the vote. With 20 votes for Rollin Horton and 19 for John Rutherford, council has elected Rollin Horton to serve as Planning and Zoning Chair. We want to thank Mr. Rutherford for his willingness to serve and for putting himself forward as well. So thank you as well to Mr. Rutherford. And congratulations to Mr. Horton. Now Chair Horton. Thank you. Okay. Next, item E3 on our agenda, the Traffic and Parking Commission representative. This is also a position established in charter that is a 2-year term, and this council member will represent the council on the Traffic and Parking Commission. Councilmember Sean Parker was nominated by Councilmember Appointee, and Councilmember Jeff Eastlick was nominated by Councilmember Webb. First, Mr. Appointee, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to this particular nomination. Colleagues, I nominated Councilmember Parker for 3 basic reasons and 3 particular attributes that I feel as if he embodies and will be able to represent us. Experience. He has the experience of being on this body, not only last term, but this term, and the experience in working in this particular issue. His passion for this issue, his passion for Nashvillians, his passion for pedestrian safety and multimodal forms of transportation are something that is crucial for this particular position, as well as his determination to get results not only for his district, for this body, and for this entire county. Those are the reasons why I rose to nominate him. As many of you know, I don't rise to nominate a lot of people. I believe this is probably the 3rd person that I have nominated, and then I believe that speaks volumes to the quality of this particular nomination. So I would ask for all of your support for Councilmember Parker in this particular nomination, and I will cede the rest of my time to him.
Councilman Parker, you're recognized.
Thank you, Councilmember Appointee, for the nomination and for those kind words. I'm really excited for the opportunity to potentially serve as our representative on the Traffic and Parking Commission. As y'all know, I've served for the last 6 years on the Metro Council. We have done some really big stuff in the transportation space in that time, including the establishment of NDOT, which used to just be part of Public Works, the development of a professionalized transportation department for a growing mid-sized city. We've passed significant plans in that previous term, walk and bike plan, Vision Zero, Connect Downtown, and in this term, we were a big part of Nashville making a massive commitment to a safer and more connected future with the Choose How You Move program being approved by this body and then overwhelmingly by Nashville voters. So we've got a lot of great plans. We now have dedicated funding in place, and there's a lot of work to do to get those wonderful plans implemented and work toward that safer and more accessible Nashville. If you watch the traffic and parking meetings, I'm gonna have to hurry here. If you watch the traffic and parking meetings, what comes up a lot is neighbors have found themselves there for one reason or another because something is unsafe or not working right in their neighborhoods. And sometimes the Traffic and Parking Commission has the tools and are able to address that issue. Sometimes what's being asked for is a 4-way stop when what people really want is traffic calming, but they're number 300 on the list. So it's very complicated. And what I want us to do at Traffic and Parking, when we're saying no to a 4-way stop, we're saying no, but here's what else you can do. Here's the folks that you can talk with about some other mitigation strategies we can do at this intersection, and not just say, no, we can't do a 4-way, so it's nothing. So that's what I'm hoping to bring.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Councilmember Eastlick was nominated by Councilmember Webb. Ms. Webb, you are recognized.
Thank you. And I nominated Mr. Eastlick because I think he is qualified to do the job. And now he's going to tell y'all why he's qualified to do the job.
Okay, Mr. Eastlick, you're recognized.
Thank you so much. I do not have the experience that CM Parker does. At the same time, I've already spoken before the Traffic and Parking Commission 2 times. And one time, it was about something that was not recommended. But after me pleading my case and showing them the research that I've done to fix this issue, they sided with me and actually voted to do what I'd asked. In the second one, I was opposed to a lowering of the speed limit in my area. And it wasn't because I'm trying to not lower the speed limits. I was asking for the data that supported that. And they had some, but the data didn't seem to be exactly what it was needed. And after that, they actually made a motion to start looking back to find out if these changes are actually doing anything, or without enforcement, are we just moving deck chairs around without it? I really would like to be on this committee or commission so that I can help guide and help fix some of the traffic issues around here. I grew up in Nashville. It's been a long time coming to this. I really appreciate the opportunity. And as a first termer, we don't really get the opportunities as much as the second termers do. And I'm hoping that we will start investing in the first termers as we have invested in the second termers, so that when the second termers roll off, we may have more experience in this area and be able to help the residents, which we ran for and got elected to do as well. So I ask for your vote, I ask for your support, and I will cooperate and work with everybody I can as much as possible throughout the whole term. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eastlick. All right, having heard from both nominees, council is electing one representative to a 2-year term. Mr. Clerk, would you please load the vote? All votes are in. Mr. Clerk, please show the vote. Council has elected Councilman Sean Parker with 25 votes, 14 votes for Mr. Eastlick. I want to thank Mr. Eastlick for putting himself forward in consideration of this position, and congratulations to Commissioner Parker. All right, now we are moving on to item E4, the Metro Audit Committee. This is an election for 2 council members to serve on the Metro Audit Committee for a 2-year term. We will go in order of our nominees, again, first recognizing their nominator. First is Councilmember Joyce Stiles, who was nominated by Councilmember Toombs. Ms. Toombs, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Having served on the Audit Committee, I'm aware of the time commitment, the attention to detail, the ability to take in a lot of information and be able to interpret that information and to be able to analyze processes throughout our metro departments. I nominated Councilwoman Joyce Stiles because I felt like she would be a good fit for this committee. If you know Councilwoman Stiles, you know she likes to question processes and challenge the status quo. And I think that you need someone like that on the audit committee. There's a variety of different levels of expertise on audit. And I think that having that perspective of, why are we doing this? Why does it have to be this way? Could be important to the conversation. And so I do think that Councilwoman Stiles would be a good addition. And I will yield the rest of my time to her so she can tell you more.
All right, Ms. Stiles, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to my colleagues, Councilmember Toombs, for this nomination. As she referenced, I am someone that does like to push against status quo. I think our audit committee is a critical function because it's our opportunity for accountability and transparency, for fiscal processes. I think we've run into a lot of issues. This is my 6th year on council. And we have seen a lot of issues come before us that the audit committee, we have ultimately turned to say, hey, can you look into this and let us know what is the data that's coming back here? In the letter that's on your desk, I shared with you some of my experience. So as chair of Metro Arts, I jumped into Metro Arts to figure out what was going on there, fiscal year responsibility, how long it had been going on, why it had been going on. I'm currently chair of the Women's Caucus. We're dealing with the Director of Emergency Communications, Director Stephen Martini, looking at their processes and policies that don't seem to be working. We had the Health Department last term, looking at Title VIII issues that we've had with animals, an overpacked facility. That led to the creation of the Pet Working Group. I'm co-chairing with Councilmember Sherry Weiner, and we finally have a commitment to getting a new facility. So there's a lot of pushing and a lot of asking questions, and I'm not afraid to ask questions. I think that is really important, not to just believe smoke and mirrors, because we get a lot of smoke and mirrors in this room. And a lot of, oh, we have to do things right away, and you don't have time to process information. You just have to make a decision. I don't think that's right. It's not fair to us. It's not fair to our constituents. And so it would be an honor to serve on this committee, to continue to ask the hard questions. I know that there are some audits in process right now that are very important in regards to the assessor's office and how that process is going. And so I certainly would like to be at the table and represent us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, Councilmember Courtney Johnston was nominated by Councilmember at Large Berkeley Allen. Ms. Allen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I've had the pleasure of serving for the last 2 years on the Audit Committee with Councilmember Johnston, and I can speak to the fact that she is very thorough, very detail-oriented, and never afraid to ask hard questions, but in a way that looks constructively for solutions, which I think is the whole purpose of the Audit Committee, to determine where processes are falling short, and then to work towards the recommendations and to ensuring that those are followed through with. I think her prior experience on the CARES Act Funding Committee was also really invaluable. I watched in that process last term the amazing attention to detail that was paid there, and the incredible grasp of the very complex ways in which money is allocated and spent, and the timing that's done there. The questions that she asked on that one were also, I thought, very, very relevant, and often in ways that discovered that there may be better ways to do something than we had simply accepted. So I think that asking of questions has been very important, and she has an astute way to go at what the important question to ask is. So with that, I will turn the mic over to my colleague and ask you to support her.
Ms. Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you, and thank you, Councilmember Allen. It was a pleasure to serve with you as well. You're very thorough. You might be more thorough than me. I really enjoyed the Audit Committee for the last 2 years. Audit is an incredible function, an incredibly important function that this city has. I think we should be investing more into our audit function, actually, and I think we should be doing more with the audits that we get. But this is definitely one of my strengths. This is where, this is my background, is finance. I've put forth a lot of audits. There's a lot of audits that are in process, but even the ones that have come back, we have seen they were absolutely important, and the things that we were looking for, we found, so that we can make some changes for the betterment of the taxpayers, for safety for all of us. There's a litany of things that we've gotten done, so I'd like to continue that. I appreciate your support from last year. I've served as I was voted the vice chair, I think a year ago. I can't remember when that was. And one of the most important compliments that I think that the committee got was from our auditor, that said that this past 2 years, who's serving has been our strongest that she's ever seen. And I would like to think that I was a part of that, and I hope to continue that. Again, it's an incredibly important function that the city carries out, and I'd like to continue to serve. I hope to have your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Next is Councilmember Jason Spain, who was nominated by Councilmember Jordan Huffman. Mr. Huffman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I will keep my comments very brief. The Audit Committee is an extremely important place, and we have been very fortunate to have had two good representatives. I think that Councilmember Spain has shown through the budget process this past year that he's not afraid to look under every rock and crevice to find information. I think that that's a very valuable thing, especially right now with considerations to just a lot of different fires that are going on. I think that Councilmember Spain would serve this body well and would make us proud. And with that, I'll turn it over to him.
Councilmember Spain, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Councilmember Huffman, for nominating me and for those kind words. Colleagues, in FY17, Metro's budget stood at $2.1 billion. And today, here in FY26, our budget is at 3.8. That means in the past decade, Metro's budget has grown by just over 80%. There are, of course, all sorts of contributing factors to that and reasons for it, but one of the predictable results is that it's not uncommon for me, and I'm sure many of you, to hear from constituents who very reasonably just want to know if we're spending their money wisely. And I think that's the role of this committee, and I think it's probably more important than it's ever been because it allows us to promote transparency and public trust and show taxpayers that we are indeed spending their money as efficiently and effectively as we possibly can. For better or for worse, I've spent pretty much my entire career working around government budgets at every level, starting as an associate staff for the House Budget Committee in Congress, and then serving on in the administration of Governor Bredesen, where we developed and implemented 8 balanced budgets, and now the past 2 years on our Budget and Finance Committee, in addition to serving for the past 15 years as executive director of a statewide nonprofit, where I'm responsible for developing and implementing its budget as well. So I think and I hope that these experiences would allow me to contribute meaningfully to this committee's work. I would be honored to be one of your representatives on this body and would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spain. All right. Next is Councilmember Delisha Porterfield, who was nominated by Councilmember Zulfat Swara. Ms. Swara, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I also have the pleasure of serving on the Audit Committee my first term. And as many of you know, I also was an auditor in my practice many years ago. But I nominated Councilmember Porterfield because of our experience with the budget. The Internal Audit Department, which is one of the things I love about it, is an independent body separate from the government. And they do a very wonderful job as somebody who served on it. But you cannot talk about procedures and policies and how things are supposed to work if you don't even know what it's supposed to be in the first place. Having the opportunity to meet with department heads, talk to them for the last 2 years, understand what they're doing is an experience that's going to be vital in that conversation when the audit committee starts to talk, because even the internal auditors don't get to talk to them as much as she has. Now, they will do that in their process. That's their job. But being in the room and being able to offer that insight is something that I felt like will be very important. I saw it as a member of the budget committee when I was serving. I saw how that was impactful, but being the chair and having gone through that process, I think is going to be very good. And so for that is the reason why I nominated her, and I'm going to yield the rest of the time to her.
Thank you. Councilmember Porterfield, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Councilwoman Soror. I would love to earn the support of my colleagues, and I'm grateful for the trust from Councilmember Soror for making that nomination. I do believe that as a former budget chair, it brings a perspective to Metro's oversight and use of resources, and we've seen that with Councilmember Allen, who's previously served as budget chair, as well as Councilmember Toombs, who's previously served as budget chair, and both of them had the opportunity to serve on audit and just really bring their expertise to that committee. The audit committee's work is to carefully read reports and analyze data and ask thoughtful and informed questions. And I believe that I have shown the body that I'm willing to read through, even if it's a 100-page contract, I'm willing to read through it and comb through it and pull out vital information to make sure that we're asking the appropriate questions. So I believe that I've demonstrated that I'm prepared to do the work of transparency, accountability, and stand for strong fiscal stewardship. Because the audit committee typically meets on a less frequent cadence, it is not uncommon for members to serve while holding other leadership roles. We saw that with Councilwoman Toombs, who skillfully served as both pro tem and on the audit committee previously. And this is just a really important opportunity to make sure that we are, working on our shared interests of good governance, fair leadership, transparency, and accountability. And with that, I would love to earn my colleagues' vote to serve in this capacity.
Thank you, Ms. Porterfield. All right. Ms. Webb, do you want me to recognize you at this juncture, or just can I? Okay, Ms. Webb has withdrawn. I guess I will just state that for the record, having received an email to that effect. I just wanted to make sure that if you wanted to state that yourself. And so with Ms. Webb having withdrawn, you have now heard from all nominators and their nominees. Again, council, we are voting for 2 council members to serve on the Metro Audit Committee established by our Metropolitan Charter, and I look forward to also serving with whomever 2 among you are elected, as the Vice Mayor also serves on the Audit Committee. Mr. Clerk, if you would please load the vote. All right, with all votes in, Mr. Clerk, please show the vote. All right. Ms. Darby. Okay, I'm going to put it to Ms. Darby just to ascertain how we want to go about this and what is in proper order. Go ahead, Ms. Darby, you're recognized.
So there are 39 people voting. 20 is the simple majority threshold. Mr. Spain received 20 votes. And we would go back to another round of voting to determine whether we can hit that 20 vote threshold for the second position.
I appreciate that. And so Mr. Spain has been elected. Let's hold our applause till we know who our second committee member is. And Mr. Clerk, having heard the explanation of Special Counsel Darby, would you please load us a second vote? Members will be voting for 1 member at this juncture. Mr. Spain has already been elected. With all votes in, Mr. Clerk, please show the vote. Okay, so this does require a majority of those voting. With 39 people voting, as Special Counsel said prior, that majority is a vote of at least 20. No one voting at this time has attained a 20-vote majority, and thus, Special Counsel, what is the procedure at this juncture?
We usually do kind of the try again round with all members that are, all the candidates that are on the board to go through the vote again. And then once we...
If there is a subsequent vote, then
we drop the lowest.
Then we would drop the person with the lowest vote count. Okay. So this is the try again round. Members have seen the results up to this point and can sort of factor those in to their next choices. And so with that, Mr. Clerk, if you would please load the vote again. It will be the same 3 candidates. Members should choose 1. A member needs 20 votes to attain a majority and be elected. Ms. Stiles, are you seeking to vote? All votes are in. Mr. Clerk, please show the vote. All right, so at this juncture, I'm going to break the tie. No? Okay. Okay, special counsel, if you would please say that onto the record, please, ma'am.
So for this election, we need 20 votes. And so
Thus, my tie vote would not attain the 20. Yep, got it.
So going on to the next round of voting, as per our usual method, we would remove the lowest vote, keep the top two vote getters. I hate that term. I need to come up with something else for that. Keep the top two candidates with the receiving the most votes and move on to the next round of elections.
All right, with that, Mr. Clerk, if you would please load the vote between Councilmember Johnston and Councilmember Porterfield. Members are to select one, please. Okay, with all votes in, Mr. Clerk, please show the vote. Council has elected Delisha Porterfield. Council has thus elected to the two seats on the Audit Committee, Councilmember Spain and Councilmember Porterfield. I want to thank Councilmember Johnston for her service and for putting herself forward again, and Ms. Stiles for putting herself forward. Congratulations to the winners, and thank you to those who have put themselves forward and served previously. All right. Next is agenda item E5. This is for the Short-Term Rentals Appeal Board. This is the election of one council member to serve as a non-voting member of the Short-Term Rentals Appeals Board. This is for a 2-year term. Mr. Cash was nominated by Councilmember Parker. Go ahead, sir. You're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So I was really excited to nominate Councilmember Cash to serve on the Short-Term Rental Appeals Board. As many of y'all know, I have served as our representative on that board since we established it by code in, that was 2020 or 2021. So I'm the only council member that served on that body so far. And it's a very interesting role. You get to learn a lot about the different versions of short-term rental regulations that we have had over the years because state law makes them sort of apply out as the permits continue to be renewed. So I think Councilmember Cash is in an area of town where he experiences the kind of quality of life and the issues with housing supply and everything else that Airbnbs can cause. So I think he's a great candidate to represent us on the body, and I was very happy to nominate him, and I would turn over the rest of my time to Councilmember Cash.
All right, Councilmember Cash, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councilmember Parker, for the nomination and the kind words. I'll be brief. Just even before I was on council, I worked on short-term rental issues. I worked with my District 18 predecessor, Councilmember Allen, as she put STRs on the book so they could be regulated. And then later, a few years later, I worked on some of the legislation that kind of looked at some of the problems that had been cropping up and legislation that placed some limitations on short-term rentals. So I'm fairly well versed in the history and the laws surrounding short-term rentals. I look forward to learning more. And as Councilmember Parker alluded to, I represent a district with a pretty high number of STRs comparatively, and have worked on addressing all kinds of different issues related to them. And I'll continue to be like fair-minded and look at the merits of cases as I hear appeals on the STR appeals board. And I appreciate the opportunity to serve the council in this role. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Cash. Colleagues, we only have one colleague running for this role. And so without objection, we can kind of vote by acclamation. Is there any objection in that regard? We are already turning off our election tablets because we already anticipated that this is what we were going to do. So I appreciate that you don't have an objection to that. With that, all in favor of Mr. Cash, please say aye. All right. Council has elected Councilmember Cash to serve and represent us on the Short-Term Rentals Appeal Board. So congratulations to him, and also congratulations on his 30th wedding anniversary, which is this evening. So. All right. Now we are moving into section F, appointees and nominees. This portion of the agenda shares all persons who are scheduled to appear before the Rules, Confirmations, and Public Elections Committee for an interview this evening. Referrals back to committee will be by rule as part of the council's two-meeting process for elections and confirmations. No votes will be taken by the body in this section of the agenda other than for deferrals. Chair Cash, this is often a lengthy section of our agenda, which, because it's the first step, we kind of just let it speak for itself. And I'll ask only for a report, please, of withdrawals or deferrals, if there are any.
These are the ones that we heard from today, not...
Correct. So
Okay.
they're in the first
Okay.
step of your process. They've
Thanks.
just been for an interview, and thus, again, we'll let the agenda kind of speak for itself. But if there are any folks that were deferred or withdrawn, if you could report on those at this
Yep.
time.
So for the Board of Mechanical, Plumbing, and Electrical Examiners Appeal, we deferred Weston Eiler. We deferred 6 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. We deferred Board of Mechanical, Plumbing, and Electrical Examiners and Appeals reappointment of Morgan Miller Wallace. We deferred 6 to 0 to 0. And I believe there was one more. Yep, we deferred for the Procurement Standards Board. We deferred the reappointment of Shannon Raybon by a vote of 7 to 0 to 0.
Okay, deferred one meeting. Chair Cash, did you have some withdrawals?
There were withdrawals on,
Item
yes.
F7 related to the Historical Commission?
Yes. Let me see.
I believe those were per Rule 50, with no questionnaires having been submitted by the deadline of August 30th.
Yep. I know there were some withdrawals, but I'm not seeing it on this list.
I see here, and I'll just see if perhaps that's reflected by your experience there in committee, Jason Corlew, nominated by Ms. Webb, and William Kantz, nominated by Councilmember Kimbrough.
Correct. And I think there was...
Oh, and as well, Chris Brummett.
Yes, correct. Those three were withdrawn.
Withdrew. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So noting those withdraws and deferrals. Special counsel, can we just make a note of that at this juncture? No vote necessary at this juncture, or do we do a vote for those? Yeah. So what I will need, sir, is a combined motion for a deferral of the consideration of Weston Eiler, Morgan Miller Wallace, both to that Board of Mechanical, Plumbing, et cetera, and also the deferral of the interview step of the process for Shannon Raybon to the Procurement Standards Board.
So moved.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? All in favor of that deferral motion, please say aye. Okay. Those folks are deferred in the first step of the process, and we've noted the withdrawals rather. All right, now we're moving into section G of the agenda, confirmations.
Wait.
Chair Cash, you are now recognized again for your committee report on the 4 appointees that are in the second step of your committee's 2-meeting process.
So I don't need to tell you the ones that were approved in their vote?
That's what's coming now, sir.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what?
It's within the same section, though.
Okay, back to section F then, but all re-referrals are by rule, but we needed to record. Okay. All right, let's talk about that another time because I would really prefer if we don't mention all of those for purposes of reports because it takes a really long time and it's re-referral by rule. So I know that we have done it subsequently. Pardon? All righty, special counsel is saying, Mr. Cash, that you need to do what, special counsel? Just remind me, I'm sorry.
Usually at this time, we note all of the appointees and nominees that are being re-referred back to committee.
Okay, so Mr. Cash, if you would make that short and sweet, just the name and as abbreviated as possible, like, because you have 3 people to
Commission
the.
and name, is that enough?
Yes, so you have.
And the vote?
Yeah, so you have the board, the mechanical, you can say the board name once, mention the 3 people by last name, give the vote and move on through. Thank you, sir.
Arts Commission appointment of Camille Greer, approved 6-0. Board of Mechanical Plumbing Engineer, Electrical Examiners, James Lassiter, approved 6-0. And Employee Benefit Board appointment of Bradley Penson, approved 6-0. Fire and Building Code Appeals Board, reappointment of Marina Dupy, approved 6-0. And from the same board, no, I'm sorry, that's it. And then for the Historical Commission, the nomination of Phil Claiborne, approved 7-0, and Betsy Phillips, approved 7-0. And the other one, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cash. And again, those re-referrals are by rule. Next, Section G, confirmations. This is now for a committee report on the 4 appointees that were in the second step of your committee's process.
Right.
And a consolidated motion, or first for a deferral motion if there are any. Go ahead, sir.
So I need to read them, yes. They're all, we voted on all of them, none were deferred.
Okay, that's great. If you could just.
Okay, so Fire and Building Code Appeals Board, reappointment of Andy Berry and Devinder Sandhu, both 5-0. And then Historical Commission reappointment of William McKee and 5-0, and Historic Zoning Commission appointment of Matthew Smith, 5-0.
Okay, all righty. May I have a consolidated motion for the confirmation of those appointments and reappointments, sir?
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay. Does anyone wish to remove an item from this consolidated motion? Anyone? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of these 4 confirmations to the Fire, Building Codes and Appeals Board and the Historical Commission and the Historical Zoning Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any voting no or abstaining? No? Okay. All right. Council has confirmed, and I will ask those folks you chose to return to the council chamber this evening, which is not required in our two-step process, do please stand as I call your names so that you can be recognized jointly at the end if you are present. Council has confirmed the reappointment of Raymond Andy Berry to the Fire and Building Code Appeals Board. Council has confirmed the reappointment of Devinder Sandhu to the Fire and Building Code Appeals Board. Council has confirmed the reappointment of C. William Bill McKee to the Historical Commission. And lastly, Council has confirmed the appointment of Matthew C. Smith to the Historic Zoning Commission. It appears that none of those folks are back with us this evening. So we say to them, if they are watching live or online at home or watching on the replay, we congratulate them for their willingness to serve, and we thank them very much. Thank you. All right, so that concludes our Section G, confirmations. Now we're going to move to Section H of our agenda, public comment. Members of the public who are Tennessee residents wishing to speak at this council meeting or any council meeting may sign up outside the council chamber from 5 to 6 p.m. on the day of the council meeting. Public comment is limited to 20 minutes total at council meetings, and each speaker is allowed up to 2 minutes to speak. Persons speaking on agenda items must be prioritized to comply with state law. All right, first for public comment is Steve Ryder. He is speaking on agenda item 55. This is ordinance BL 2025-1011 in opposition. You're recognized. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the council. This is on first reading, but I really want to speak on it tonight. I'm addressing a small pocket park that's called Commerce Center Park. It's about 0.3 of an acre. It's just down the street here. It's an urban core park, and that land is very valuable. In fact, the applicant bought this property that's right in front of it for $75 million. In 2010s, the Park Board adopted an open space policy. And the whole idea that there's an important provision in there, and it says specifically, there can be no net loss of park space. I want to repeat that. No net loss of park space. But that's exactly what this does. It takes parks away from us. The whole idea of having that in there was to preserve our parks. And this is a real problem. Now, I know the applicant's going to be here and say, oh, well, we're going to spend $2-3 million. We're going to improve the park for you. But what they're doing essentially is they're going to construct and design a park that fits their needs, not the public, their needs. Plus, they have the rights on operation and maintenance of that property. And if you look at what's there, it talks about the operations. They're going to set the operating hours. They're going to go out there and schedule everything. And if you want to go out and use that for an event, you have to give them 60 days notice. I'm sorry, that's not a park. That's not. And we call this a lease agreement. It's called a lease agreement, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a lease agreement. This is an acquisition agreement. And we should not even be considering this today. This is not what we should be doing to our parks. So please, I know it's on first reading, but there's going to have to be more discussion on that. I'm a little disappointed that the administration is putting this forward, because to me, this is not in the best interest of the citizens of Nashville, Davidson County.
Thank you. Next is Gil Schwett. Speaking on agenda item 92, ordinance BL 2025-954 in opposition. Following Gil will be Chris Madaram. So if you would go ahead and please come forward as well. Go ahead, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, Council. My name is Gil Schutte, an attorney here in Nashville to discuss agenda item number 92 and why you should vote against it. Currently, the Transportation Licensing Committee regulates sightseeing vehicles and entertainment transportation vehicles under the same set of rules and regulations. This ordinance seeks to change that by creating an entirely new regulatory framework for sightseeing vehicles alone. This change is unnecessary, supported by a single operator, Old Town Trolley, and deemed unnecessary and unhelpful by the Nashville Department of Transportation. As you may know, Metro is currently involved in litigation regarding rules and regulations passed by the Transportation Licensing Commission that a Davidson County Chancellor has enjoined because they are unconstitutional. As part of that litigation, Ms. Diana Alarcone, the current director of the Nashville Department of Transportation, was recently deposed on Friday, September 22nd. During that deposition, she was specifically asked if she believed that this ordinance should move forward or not. She responded, "I do not think it should." And when asked why, she stated, "Because I think the way we define sightseeing in the Transportation Licensing Commission is fair to everyone." Also during this deposition, Ms. Alarcone was asked about a traffic study that Old Town Trolley submitted in support of their proposal to classify sightseeing vehicles separately. She testified that this traffic study did not follow any prescribed methodologies and was not helpful to analyzing whether or not sightseeing vehicles should be separated from ETVs. It was not worth the paper it was written on. I would submit to the council that we should leave the nuts and bolts of regulating this industry to the experts and the commissioners who are involved with this every day. In this instance, this proposed ordinance is supported by just one operator, Old Town Trolley, who has long sought special treatment for its operation apart from the rules and regulations that apply to every other operator. Thank you, council.
Your time is concluded. Thank you so much. Next is Chris Mataram, speaking on agenda item 92, also ordinance BL 2025-954 in support. Following Chris will be Marcos Rogelio. So if you would go ahead and come forward. Go ahead, Chris, you're recognized.
Thank you, and good evening, council members. My name is Chris Mataram, and I'm here tonight representing Old Town Trolley, a company that has proudly served Nashville for almost a decade. We provide safe, family-friendly, hop-on, hop-off tours to thousands of visitors from all over the world. We're speaking tonight in support of BL 2025-954, sponsored by Councilmember Coopin and others. This bill would establish a standalone regulatory framework for seated sightseeing vehicles, or SSVs. Currently, SSVs are permitted under the same entertainment vehicle regulations that were originally written for party buses. Party buses are a unique type of offering that have been very popular here in Nashville in recent years, but SSVs are not party buses and should be regulated separately. We operate on fixed routes, require all passengers to be seated at all times, prohibit alcohol on board, and move tourists between cultural destinations. While it may have made sense in earlier years to regulate us together, the growth and diversity of Nashville tourism industry means we now need clearer distinctions and regulations that reflect the distinct nature of each vehicle type. The current lack of distinction has caused confusion for operators, customers, and regulators alike. The intent of this bill is simply to provide clarity, structure, and better enforcement tools without expanding or retracting the number of permitted vehicles or changing the existing rules that govern SSV operations. We believe this bill is a thoughtful, balanced update to Metro's code and one that will lead to better enforcement and ultimately a better ecosystem downtown for all. We want to thank Councilmember Coopin for his deliberate approach to crafting this legislation and respectfully ask you support him in supporting this bill. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Next is Marcos Rogelio, speaking on agenda item 32, resolution 2025-1462. Is Marcos here? All right. If anybody knows if Marcos is here and wants to go get him, they may, and I will skip ahead to Austin Williams. Speaking on the topic of affordable housing in support. You are recognized.
Good evening. Let me pull my speech up. Sorry, I got it. Okie doke. So I wrote a little speech for this, but I'm speaking to the council members. So Mayor O'Connell said himself that the $2.1 billion stadium would be a generational mistake, yet our government approved that. I was homeless back in June and July, sleeping in Centennial Park, going to work every single day. I couldn't afford food. I dropped to 120 pounds, and I was over 200 before that. And I hear everyone throw around the term marginalized and minority, and I'm a homosexual American, and I don't think that I deserve more or any less than any other American citizen in this country. And no human that comes into this country is less worthy of that as well. But I do think that there are illegal actions that are taken in our country. No human is illegal. And on stolen native land, I heard someone say earlier that no human is illegal on stolen native land. But in my opinion, people that call this their native home are having their homes and their neighborhoods stolen from them every single day by corporate takeover and a metropolitan government that could truly care less about the people and care more about lining their pocketbooks. Regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, I'm wearing this Trump shirt today to let everybody know that even though I don't stand with him anymore, I think that he is no more a villain than Freddie O'Connell or Marsha Blackburn. They're all against the people, in my opinion, and we're suffering. We're at the bottom while they keep themselves at the top. I've seen so many people walk out of this room tonight in uniforms that the cost of that dress or the cost of the belt or the cost of the suit would feed a hungry family in Nashville. So I encourage you to look in that as you're passing votes. And thank you to the first responders that over this nation have been defunded just for doing their job.
All right. Is Marcus Rogelio here? Seeing no one else seeking to be recognized for purpose of public comment, the public comment portion is concluded. All right. Next, we are moving into public hearing matters. Section I and J of our agenda. We have one resolution on public hearing and many bills. Spanish interpretation services are provided for all Metro Council public hearings. Council Office team member Karina Valdez is here as the interpreter. Ms. Valdez, will you please share how you can help?
Los servicios de interpretación en español estarán disponibles en la audiencia pública. Gracias.
Gracias. We appreciate you. For those wishing to speak this evening as part of public hearings, please do state your name, but it is not required for you to provide your exact address if you do not wish to do so. You may want to tell us in what neighborhood or area you live, what your connection to an agenda item or project is, or who your council member is. Okay. Later in our zoning public hearing portion, we always ask if any of those items do have a line. We ask that no more than 5 folks be standing and lined up at a time and that our doorway is not blocked at that time. Okay, so first, in section I of our agenda, agenda item 1, resolution 2025-1461, sponsor cash, is a resolution exempting Fine Salon and Blow Dry Bar located at 2115 10th Avenue South from the minimum distance requirements for obtaining a beer permit. Councilmember Cash, you're recognized.
I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
First, sir, I'm going to go for your committee report.
Oh, committee reports, please.
No worries. I know it's a little bit different because it's a resolution in one reading. Go ahead, Chair Hill, for the report of government operations and regulations.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. We heard RS 2025-1461. We recommended approval. 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay, thank you. And having already heard the request of Councilmember Cash, I will declare the public hearing open for resolution 2025-1461, sponsor cash. Would all members of the public here in support of this resolution, please raise your hand? Thank you. Would all members of the public here in opposition to this resolution, please raise your hand? Seeing no one here in opposition, does the person here in support seek to be recognized or to speak? Mr. Cash, she is shaking her head no.
Good.
Okay, and so seeing no one else seeking to be recognized, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion on your resolution.
Move approval, please.
All right, is there a second? Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any voting no or abstaining? All right, council has passed this resolution. Next, we're moving right into section J, bills on public hearing, ordinances on public hearing. First among those is agenda item 2, ordinance BL 2025-727, sponsor Benedict. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government by changing from RS 7.5 to R8A zoning for property located at 800 Gwynn Drive at the southeast corner of Patapsco Street and Gwynn Drive. This is 0.32 acres. Councilmember Benedict, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing.
Okey dokes. I declare the public. Oh, okay. Special counsel is saying we may have a notice issue on this matter. And so, special counsel, should I go to the planning table? Yes. Will do. Ms. Milligan, you're recognized for the planning department.
Excuse me, yes, this item needs to be deferred. The notices were not returned properly.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to defer this to the first meeting in the next month. What is October?
The first meeting in October, which will be for the public and colleagues, October 9th, due to the special election, okay? It was already going to be a pretty late one for an early October meeting, and now it's shifting 2 days. So that will be October 9th. There is a motion for deferral.
I'd just like to make sure that you have to read this caption yet another month, Vice Mayor. So yes, I renew my motion.
Yeah, looking forward to reading it again in October. There's a motion to defer to the public hearing of October 9th that is properly seconded. Is there any discussion on that deferral motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, this matter is deferred. Next is Agenda Item 3, Ordinance BL 2025-796, sponsors Gamble and Allen. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government by changing from RS 20 to CSANS zoning for property located at 107 East Campbell Road, approximately 635 feet west of Gallatin Pike. This is 0.26 acres. Ms. Gamble, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Request to open the public hearing.
Okay. I declare the public hearing open. On Ordinance 796, sponsor Gamble. Would all members of the public here in support of this bill please raise your hand? All right, thank you. Would all members of the public here in opposition to this bill please raise your hand? Okay, seeing no one here in opposition, do those here in support seek to be recognized or speak? Folks right there, you raised your hands. Do you want to speak at this time? You don't have to. No, sir? Okay. Ms. Gamble, they are shaking their heads no. And so with no one else seeking to be recognized, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion on your bill.
Move for approval.
Is there a second? Okay. It's properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion to approve on the second of 3 readings? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, this has passed its second reading. All right, next are agenda items 4 and 5. They are companions to each other. Ordinance BL 2025-862 and 863, both sponsor Toombs. Ms. Toombs, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Request to open the public hearing.
Okay. I declare the public hearing open for Council Member Toombs's bills 862 and 863. I am recalling, Ms. Toombs, that I did not read the caption into the record, and so let me do that, please, just for the viewing public and the gallery. So 862 is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government of Nashville and Davidson County by changing from R8 to SP zoning for property located at West Trinity Lane, unnumbered, approximately 655 feet west of McKinley Street. This is 1 acre to permit 17 multifamily residential units. And again, it's companion bill 863, which requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings in ordinance 862. Again, the public hearing is open at this time. Would all members of the public here in support of these bills please raise your hand? Thank you. Would all members of the public here in opposition to these bills please raise your hand? Seeing no one here in opposition, do those folks here in support seek to be recognized? Okay. With that, Ms. Toombs, they are saying no, and so I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion on these bills.
Thank you. Move for approval.
All righty. There is
I'm sorry, for both of them. Can I move for approval for both?
You may, yes, absolutely.
Move for approval for item 4 and 5.
Okay. There is a motion to approve on second reading 862 and its companion 863. Is there a second? Okay, properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay. These have passed their second of 3 readings. Next is Agenda Item 6, Ordinance BL 2025-908, sponsors Benedict and Gad. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 17.08 and 17.16 of the Metro Code zoning regulations to amend and add regulations pertaining to the beer and cigarette market use. Councilmember Benedict, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing.
Okay. I declare the public hearing open for ordinance 2025-908, sponsor Benedict and Gad regarding beer and cigarette market uses. Would all members of the public here in support of this bill please raise your hand? Okay. Would all members of the public here in opposition to this bill please raise your hand? Seeing no one here on either side, Ms. Benedict, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion on this bill to get it before us.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move approval.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, properly moved and seconded. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. So, colleagues, earlier this year, we passed legislation that redefined beer and cigarette market to include establishments commonly known as vape shops. So those that primarily sell non-tobacco nicotine, CBD, THC, and other substances similar to that. This bill builds on that work and sets clear, common sense standards. And it requires, sorry, I'm reading through my notes and my glasses are foggy. So this, it also creates common sense standards for these establishments. It requires a quarter mile or 1,320 foot separation between the establishments. It also requires a 100-foot buffer from playgrounds, parks, daycares, and religious institutions. And it limits signage so that no more than 25% of a storefront window can be covered. It also prohibits perimeter lighting around doors and windows that create illumination. So basically neon lighting around the outside of doors and windows will be prohibited. So, you know, taken together, these standards strike a balance. It allows the businesses to operate, but it also improves the look of especially our corridors. And the Planning Commission passed this, and the Downtown Council member has a friendly amendment that I think he'd like to move.
All right. Okay, so there is a motion to approve. It is properly seconded, and the bill is before us, and we're on to discussion. And first in the queue is Councilmember Coupin. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to my colleague for bringing this bill. This is an issue that we are seeing more and more of in the downtown core as well, clusters of these shops and the disruption that's caused. And I appreciate her bringing it, and had spoken to planning prior to them hearing it, and appreciate them including some words in the recommendation that allowed some movement for the amendment that I've got today. One of the carve-outs was that the downtown code was carved out from the 1,300 distance, because obviously a couple of those 1,300 distances you'd be out of downtown. But I worked with planning to put it back in with a 500-foot distance. So this would put any of these shops in the downtown core would have to be at least 500 feet away from each other. So same concept as the full bill, but more applicable to the density of downtown.
Okay, do you seek to offer this amendment at this time?
Yes, and I would like to move the amendment, please.
Okay.
Oh, no, I wouldn't like to move the amendment. I would like to retract that. I'm sorry. My understanding is there's a substitute coming potentially, and so I would like to discuss the amendment, but not move the amendment. I apologize for about that until the substitute comes, because I don't want to amend the bill until it's substituted.
So you're going to rescind your motion to amend.
Yes.
You were speaking generally on the bill, and we've kind of done the amendment, but we're not going to be amending at this time. So we are still on general discussion of the motion to approve on second reading. This is a Title 17 bill, colleagues. So as you know, this is amendable on third. Ms. Benedict, you're recognized again, please.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. There is a substitute that I would like to move.
There is not a substitute in your packet.
All right, can I go to the planning table, please?
Yeah. Ms. Milligan, you're recognized. I think a substitute is coming. That's why we're waiting on the amendment. Is that sufficient to share? Okay. Ms. Benedict, is that sufficient for me to share? The substitute is coming.
Yes, please, thank you. The planning department and I had not connected prior to today's meeting.
worries.
So sorry for these miscommunication on these bills.
No worries at all. Okay, so we are on a motion to approve on second reading with kind of inferring from Mr. Coupin and the conversation that's gone on here, the substance of the amendment probably being brought into a substitute that will be offered on third. And so is there any further discussion on the motion to approve this bill on its second of three readings at this time? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, so this is past its second of three readings. All right, next is agenda item 7, ordinance BL 2025-909, sponsor Taylor. This is an ordinance amending chapter 17.08, 17.36, and 17.40 of the Metro Code pertaining to creating a commercial compatibility overlay district. Councilman Taylor, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to defer this to the first meeting in October.
Okay. Councilman Taylor has made a motion to defer the second reading and public hearing of this ordinance to the meeting of October the 9th. That is the first meeting of October. Is there a second for that motion? Okay, properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on that deferral? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, this will be taken up again at the meeting of October 9th. Next is agenda item 8, ordinance BL 2025-946, sponsors Gregg and Gamble. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government by changing from OR20 or OR20 to IWD zoning for a portion of property located at 41 Rachel Drive, approximately 600 feet southwest of Royal Parkway. This is 8.28 acres. Councilman Gregg, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing.
Okay, I declare the public hearing open for Councilman Gregg's Bill 946. Would all members of the public here in support of this bill please raise your hand? Thank you. Would all members of the public here in opposition to this bill please raise your hand? Okay, so are you saying that you are in opposition and that you would seek to be recognized? Okay. The gentleman is expressing semi-ambivalence opposition, doing this with his hand there, but is not seeking to be recognized. So given that there is no one here seeking to be recognized in opposition, do those persons in here in support wish to speak? They are shaking their head no. And so with that, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion on your bill, Mr. Gregg.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for approval with a brief comment.
Okay, is there a second? Go ahead, sir.
I would like to thank the business owners and property owners in the Royal Parkway, Rachel Drive area for their very thoughtful conversation over the past couple of weeks. We were able to address many of their concerns. Also want to thank the developer for their desire to listen and to make themselves available for the concerns of the nearby property owners and developers. And so with that, I renew my motion for approval.
All right, there is a motion to approve, properly seconded. Is there any discussion on this bill on its second of 3 readings? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, this bill has passed its second of 3 readings. All righty, next is Agenda Item 9, Ordinance BL 2025-949, sponsors Eastlick, Hill, Gamble, Ellis, Parker, Huffman, Bradford, and Stiles. This is an ordinance amending Metro Code of Laws, Section 17.40.600, to provide that notices of violation are not required for subsequent violations of the same offense under Title 17. Councilman Eastlick, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you. I request to open the public hearing.
Okay. I declare the public hearing open on Councilman Eastlick's Bill 949. Would all members of the public here in support of this bill please raise your hand? Okay. Would all members of the public here in opposition to this bill please raise your hand? All right, Mr. Eastlick, seeing no one here on either side seeking to be recognized, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion on this bill.
Thank you. I move for approval.
All right, is there a second? There's a motion to approve, properly seconded. We're on to discussion. Is there anything you want to say about the bill at this time, sir?
Certainly. Thank you. Yeah, this legislation is to try to help codes and the residents keep property owners that don't want to stay compliant in the realm of compliant. If you play your cards right, you can only mow your grass once or twice a summer, and the rest of the time, everybody else suffers. You can also add chemicals or clean your pool once or twice during the summer, leaving frogs, mosquitoes, and other critters to invade the neighbors' yards. This is something that keeps coming up, and all this does is makes it easier once you have been identified in a position of non-compliance. If you do try to get back compliant and then let it go again, this allows it to move forward quicker so that we can get to the part that makes you more likely to become compliant. And with that, I move to reinstate my
Yep, you've renewed your motion to approve. All good. We're on to discussion. Ms. Suara, you're first in the queue to be recognized. Go ahead.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for a 1-meeting deferral with comments.
Okay, is there a second on the motion to defer? Okay, so we are on a deferral motion. Go ahead.
Thank you. I happened to be at the Planning Commission meeting when this was actually discussed, and just like the sponsor said, it's something that will help the courts department. But if anyone listens to that Planning Commission meeting, there were a lot of concerns that were raised. This particular bill leaves everything to the discretion of the court director, and so there's no guardrails or guideline that determines what is an offense, what is the second time, and so many things. And so in that conversation, Councilmember Gamble, who serves on the Planning Commission, actually says that she wants to work on amendment or substitute to be able to have those guardrails. There were 3 main things that we discussed that day, and those of them are very vital. This is very good, but we kind of have arbitrary rules that is subjective to somebody's. The current director is great, but what about the person after them? And then how do we carry it out when it's not uniform I think that she's going to be working on something. I want us to have the opportunity to take all those conversations and those suggestions. The Planning Commission had a lot of advice while I was at the meeting. I've looked in the packet. I don't see any of that on there. And so to me, this is not ready to move forward. And with that, I want to renew my motion for a 1-meeting deferral.
Okay, there is a 1-meeting deferral motion before us. We are on to discussion. First in the queue is Ms. Gamble. You are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I rise in support of the 1-meeting deferral. As Councilmember Suara said, there was a lot of discussion about this particular bill at the Planning Commission, concern about how discretion, and let me first start by saying this is a Title 17 bill, so this is not related to property standards. This is related to land use. And so this does not refer to people not cutting their grass or not cleaning out their pools. This is more so, are they using the property in the proper land use way that they should be using it? And there were concerns that leaving discretion up to the examiner as to if the property owner is violating that land use and only having one notice and then being served to go to court and additional fees and all of that could inadvertently cause a harm and burden to regular residents that are law-abiding citizens, but for whatever reason, need some discretion and consideration. But we want to make sure that it's consistent and that the guidelines are there. So I have been working with Metro Codes as well as our legal counsel here to come up with an amendment. We've got two that we've got locked down. There's one that we are still trying to figure out. It was a situation where it was either too broad or too strict that it could cause some legal issues. So we're still working that out, just need a little bit more time to do that. And so for that reason, this is a friendly amendment that we are putting forth. Councilmember Easlick has been involved with codes as well in discussing this. And so with that, just ask for a one meeting deferral so we can have a little more time to clean up and make sure we get this right. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you, Ms. Gamble. Mr. Easlick, I'll recognize you again because now we're on a deferral motion. So go ahead, sir.
Thank you. On the deferral, I do not know that this makes anything arbitrary or unclear. This is still exactly the laws and the rules that we already have. It just makes it quicker if you've already been non-compliant previously. So as I understand here, there are some amendments that people would like to put forth. Either way, to me, I feel like we don't need a 1 week or one meeting deferral, that this is clear. There is no arbitrary to it. It could be amended on third reading if necessary. So at this point, I would rather see us support this as it is tonight and move forward. No deferral.
All righty. Is there anyone else seeking to be recognized on the motion to defer one meeting? Mr. Parker, go ahead, please, sir. You're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. You know, when it comes to the deferrals for the purpose of coming up with amendments, I find that we sometimes do better with those when we're able to have the committee process take place. And so this would be if we don't defer tonight, this would be at committee at the next meeting. And it could then be deferred if necessary. Folks will have amendments perhaps by that point. Perhaps discussion in committee would lead to better amendments. But I really like us to get things to committee before we start deferring, if at all possible. And with Title 17 stuff, it doesn't go to committee till third. But so I think I'm going to vote against the deferral motion today. But I'm open to however this unfolds. Thank you.
All righty. Ms. Swara, I'm going to recognize you again briefly, please, ma'am. I know you didn't use all your time prior, but go ahead.
Yes, I'll make it very brief. I want everyone to go and watch that conversation. And the director did agree at the meeting that, yes, agree with the planning commissioner. All the commissioners spoke at length about what this can do. Again, I don't do zoning, I don't do codes, but just sitting in that meeting and listening to it, we need to clean it up. There's no rush to do it. Now, in this particular case, what the discretion comes in is that we take people to court, but in this particular case, the director can just decide to skip it and just go to court directly. In this particular case. So they named some instances where this should happen. Again, I looked at the amendment packet because I was in that meeting, and so, but I didn't see it. I didn't see any of the stuff that is shown. I didn't see anything that is there. So everybody at that meeting, including the director, including codes, agreed that council should help clean this up, and council should help give the guidelines to be able to carry this forward. And that's what we're asking for here. It's just going to be 1 meeting. It doesn't stop anything, but when it does come out, then we can have, we'll make sure that everything is done right. Thank you.
All righty. Seeing no one else seeking discussion or debate, we have a one meeting deferral motion before us. We'll try it first by voice. Again, a reminder, not about volume, it's about number. All in favor of the one meeting deferral, please say aye. Those voting against the one meeting deferral, please say no. Mr. Clerk, would you please put this deferral motion on the board, please, sir? With all votes in, Mr. Clerk, please show the vote. All right, the motion to defer fails with 17 in favor, 19 against. And so we are back on the previous motion, which was a motion to approve on second reading. Is there any further discussion at this time on the motion to approve on the second of three readings? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no? Any abstaining? All right. This is passed at second reading and is on to third. As Mr. Parker shared, it will then be referred to committee. Next is agenda item 10. Ordinance BL 2025-958, sponsors Gamble, Parker, and Allen. This is an ordinance amending Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws to add a new electric vehicle charging facility use and related definitions and conditions to the zoning code. Councilmember Gamble, you are recognized, ma'am.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Open the public hearing, please. Request to open the public hearing.
Is the note that I have related to notice, Ms. Darby? Okay. All right. I declare the public hearing open for Council Member Gamble's ordinance 958.
I'm sorry, Vice Mayor.
Go ahead.
I've been advised I was supposed to defer this.
Okay. I had asked special counsel.
But because of notice requirement.
Due to notice. No. Oh.
Okay. It still needs to go through the planning with the new rules, so we need to defer this to the October meeting.
Okay.
First meeting in October.
I am going to rescind that. The public hearing is not open. Instead, that's fine. The primary sponsor has made a motion to defer the second reading to the first meeting in October, which is October 9th. Is there a second for that deferral? Okay. Any discussion on that motion to defer? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, so this matter will be taken up at the October 9th meeting. Next is agenda item 11, ordinance BL 2025-976, sponsor Welsh. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by changing from R6 to RM20 ANS zoning for property located at 310 Polk Avenue at the southwest corner of Polk Avenue and Whitney Avenue. This is 0.44 acres. Councilmember Welsh, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing.
All right. I declare the public hearing open for Councilmember Welsh's ordinance 976. Would all members of the public here in support of this bill please raise your hand? Thank you. Would all members of the public here in opposition to this bill please raise your hand? Seeing no one here in opposition, do the persons here in support seek to be recognized or speak? They are shaking their head no. And so with that, Ms. Welsh, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion on this bill.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move to approve.
All right, there's a motion to approve. Do I hear a second? Okay, properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, this bill has passed its second of 3 readings. Next is Agenda Item 12, Ordinance BL 2025-977, sponsor Vo. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by changing from CS to MUGANS zoning for properties located at 359, 361, 363, 367, 371, 373, and 375 Murfreesboro Pike at the southern corner of Murfreesboro Pike and Elm Hill Pike. This is 1 acre. Councilmember Vo, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing.
All right, I declare the public hearing open on Councilmember Vo's Ordinance 977. Would all members of the public here in support of this bill please raise your hand? All righty. Would all members of the public here in opposition to this bill please raise your hand? Seeing no one here in opposition, do the folks here in support seek to be recognized or speak? They are shaking their head mostly no and then conferring with each other a little bit more. I'm going to take that as a collective no. Is that correct? Okay. Ms. Vo, so with that, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion on your bill.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for approval.
All right. Is there a second? Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on this motion to approve on second reading? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, this has passed its second of 3 readings. Next are agenda items 13 and 14. They are companions to each other. Sponsor Parker. The first is Ordinance BL 2025-978, an ordinance to amend Title 17, the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by changing from RS5 to SP zoning for property located at 1600 Meridian Street, approximately 73 feet northwest of Marshall Street. This is 1.47 acres to permit 27 multifamily residential units. And again, 979, its companion, which requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of the buildings mentioned in 978. Councilmember Parker, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing.
Okay, I declare the public hearing open for Councilmember Parker's bills 978 and 979. Would all members of the public here in support of these bills please raise your hand? Okay. Would all members of the public here in opposition to these bills please raise your hand? Okay, seeing no one here in opposition, does the gentleman here in support seek to be recognized or speak? He's shaking his head no, and so with that, Councilman Parker, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion on your bill.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move approval of...
Or bills, sorry.
Yes, move approval of 978 and 979.
All right, I heard a second. Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion on these bills? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, 978 and 979 have passed their second of 3 readings. Next is Agenda Item 15, Ordinance BL 2025-980, sponsor Welsh. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17, the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by changing from RS15 to R15 zoning for property located at 335 Lawndale Drive, approximately 369 feet east of East Thompson Lane. This is 0.67 acres. Councilmember Welsh, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing.
All right, I declare the public hearing open for Councilmember Welsh's Bill 980. Would all members of the public here in support of this bill please raise your hand? Thank you. Would all members of the public here in opposition to this bill please raise your hand? Seeing no one here in opposition, do the persons here in support seek to be recognized or speak at this time? They are shaking their heads no. And so with that, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion on your bill.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move to approve.
All right. Is there a second? Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right. This has passed its second of 3 readings. Next is Agenda Item 16, Ordinance BL 2025-981, sponsor Vo, an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by changing from CS to ORI or rather from CS and ORI to MUG-ANS zoning for properties located at 93 Nance Lane and 393 Murfreesboro Pike at the north and south corner of Stanley Street and Nance Lane. This is 2.57 acres. Councilmember Vo, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing.
Okay, I declare the public hearing open for Councilmember Vo's Ordinance 981. Would all members of the public here in support of this bill please raise your hand? Thank you. Would all members of the public here in opposition to this bill please raise your hand? Seeing no one here in opposition, do the persons here in support seek to be recognized or speak? They are shaking their head no. They have determined that one among their 7 will be the no head shaker. So thank you, sir, for taking on that duty. And with that, Councilmember Vo, I will declare the public hearing closed. It's back to you for a motion on your bill.
Thanks, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for approval.
All right. Is there a second? Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right. This has passed its second of 3 readings. Next are agenda items 17 and 18. They are companions to each other. Sponsor Rutherford. The first is ordinance BL 2025-982. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17, the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government by changing from AR2A to SP zoning for properties located at 13,905 Old Hickory Boulevard and Old Hickory Boulevard unnumbered approximately 1,440 feet west of Whittemore Lane. This is 66.72 acres to permit 237 residential units. And again, it's companion 983, which requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of the buildings at the property that was mentioned in 982. Councilman Rutherford, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. Open the public hearing, please.
All right. I declare the public hearing open for Councilman Rutherford's bills 982 and 983. Would all members of the public here in support of these bills please raise your hand? All right. Would all members of the public here in opposition to these bills please raise your hand? Seeing no one here in opposition to the persons here in support seek to be recognized, they are shaking their head no, Mr. Rutherford. So with that, I will declare the public hearing closed. It's back to you for a motion on your bills.
Move approval of both bills.
All right. There's a motion to approve 982 and 983 on their second of 3 readings. Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right. These bills have passed. Second reading. Next is agenda item 19, ordinance BL 2025-985, sponsor Welsh. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17, the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government by changing from OL to OR20A zoning for properties located at 183 and 189 Thompson Lane, approximately 111 feet west of St. Edwards Drive. This is 0.52 acres. Councilmember Welsh, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing.
All right, I declare the public hearing open on Councilmember Welsh's Bill 984. Would all members of the public here in support of this bill please raise your hand? Thank you. Would all members of the public here in opposition to this bill please raise your hand? Seeing no one here in opposition, do those persons here in support seek to be recognized or speak? They are shaking their head no, and so with that, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion on your bill.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move to approve.
All right, there's a motion to approve. Is there a second? Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, this has passed its second of 3 readings. Next are agenda items 20 and 21. They are companions to each other. Sponsor Lee. The first is 985. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government by changing from AR2A to SP zoning for property located at Old Hickory Boulevard unnumbered, approximately 1,764 feet east of Whittemore Lane. This is 37 acres to permit 69 single-family residential lots and 60 multifamily residential units. And again, it's companion 986, which requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of the buildings mentioned at the addresses in 985. Councilwoman Lee, you're recognized, ma'am.
Madam Chair, may I open up the public hearing for 985 and 986?
Yes, ma'am, you may. I declare the public hearing open for Councilmember Lee's ordinances 985 and 986. Would all members of the public here in support of these bills please raise your hand? Thank you. Would all members of the public here in opposition to these bills please raise your hand? Seeing no one here in opposition, did the gentleman here in support seek to be recognized or speak? They are shaking their head no, Ms. Lee. And so with that, I will declare the public hearing closed. It's back to you for a motion on these bills.
Thank you. I would like to motion to approve 985 and 986, if I may take them together,
You
ma'am.
may, you may. Is there a second? All right. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, 985 and 986 have passed their second of 3 readings.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next are agenda items 22 and 23. They are companions to each other. Sponsor Cortez with our former Planning and Zoning Chair Gamble having signed on to these bills as well. First among them is Ordinance 2025-987. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government by changing from AR to A to SP zoning for properties located at 6,355 Nolensville Pike and Nolensville Pike unnumbered, approximately 90 feet west of Sugar Valley Drive. This is 13.8 acres to permit 273 multifamily residential units. And again, it's companion 988, which requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of the buildings on the properties mentioned in 987. Ms. Gamble, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Request to open the public hearing.
All right. I declare the public hearing open for Councilmember Cortez's bills 987 and 988. Would all members of the public here in support of these bills please raise your hand? Thank you. Would all members of the public here in opposition to these bills please raise your hand? All right. Seeing that someone here is in opposition, let's see. Persons in opposition will speak after those speaking in support, sir. Okay. And so with that, I would invite those people that are wanting to speak in support of this bill to please come forward now for purposes of the public hearing. Go ahead, sir. You're recognized.
Patrick Napier, representing former Lucas Engineering, the applicant for ESP. We brought this forward several months ago to the general neighborhood, working with the council member, drafted several versions of the plan and worked with the planning commission to drop something that would respect the slopes, minimize the impact overall, as well as conserve a portion of the site. And it's
Sir, could you pull that mic a little closer to you or just up so we can hear you?
And so we worked to conserve a large portion of the site in its natural state. We shifted access numerous times at the request of the planning commission. We also received a recommendation of approval from Planning Commission with 0 opposition at Planning Commission. We feel that this is the most appropriate use for the site given the challenges and to use the land as efficiently as possible. We will also be installing sidewalks and working with TDOT as they continue to improve Nolensville Pike and all of its coming improvements for the large project that's currently underway. And we're happy to answer any questions that anybody may have.
All right, we don't do that in a public hearing, but we thank you for that. Do you seek to be recognized in support, sir? Go ahead, come forward, you're recognized.
Garrett Ramsey, 1830 Primrose Avenue, with the developer Wood Partners. Just wanted to speak on the collaborative and positive process we've had working with the community, working with Planning Commission to achieve what we believe is a supportable project and something that we're proud to have worked closely alongside with members of the community for their support here to get this juncture. So again, wanted to thank everyone for their consideration and appreciate it.
Yep, thank you. Anyone else seeking to be recognized in support of these bills? All right, now moving on to the opposition. Does the gentleman who raised his hand in opposition seek to be recognized and speak? All right. You're recognized, sir. Go ahead.
My name's Greg Collins. I live in the Sugar Valley subdivision, directly across from this proposed area. My issue is the traffic volume that's going to be created by adding this particular parcel and another one that's also on the table that is about several hundred feet down Nolensville Road. Right now, we have Nolensville Road under construction. And there is a significant amount of traffic that's going through that particular area at this time. And it is because of the congestion on Nolensville Road, Waze and other traffic systems route you through the Sugar Valley subdivision. I left my home tonight. I live at right on Sugar Valley Drive. And I left my home tonight. I plugged in this address and it took me all the way through the Sugar Valley subdivision instead of taking me out on Nolensville Road and down to this area. It continues to do that. Sugar Valley Drive has become a racetrack. There's no mitigation for traffic, there's no mitigation for speed, and there's no mitigation for noise. And the particular track that I live in was developed as a residential neighborhood. It is not, it's supposed to be kid-friendly. You're supposed to be able to ride your bikes, have the kids cross the street. It's become a safety issue on Sugar Valley Drive. I've documented my concerns to Councilman Rutherford, who is my representative, and I have also documented my concerns to Councilman Cortez. I did that on August 4th. I've yet to hear from Councilman Cortez. I've sent him 2 notes and a phone call, and he's not responding to anything that I've sent. So I'm kind of a little bit frustrated, but I'm not in support of this in any way, shape, or form. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is anyone else seeking to be recognized in opposition? Seeing none, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you, Ms. Gamble, for a motion on this bill.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. On behalf of Councilmember Cortez, I'd like to thank everyone who came out and moved for approval.
All right. There is a motion to approve on it, second of 3 readings for both these bills, who are companions to each other. So 987, 988. Is there a second for that motion? Okay. Is there any discussion on this bill at this time? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right. Again, it's on its second of 3 readings. Sir, it will be on to committee. I see Mr. Rutherford coming to speak with you there. Okay. Next is agenda item 24, ordinance BL 2025-989, sponsor Welsh. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government by changing from RS 7.5 to R6A zoning for property located at 194 Chilton Street, approximately 179 feet north of McCall Street. This is 0.18 acres. Ms. Welsh, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing.
All right, I declare the public hearing open for Councilmember Welsh's ordinance 989. Would all members of the public here in support of this bill please raise your hand? Okay, would all members of the public here in opposition to this bill please raise your hand? Seeing no one here on either side, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move to approve.
All right, there's a motion to approve 989 on its second of 3 readings. Is there a second? Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right. This has passed its second of 3 readings. Next are agenda items 25 and 26. They are companions to each other. Sponsor Parker. Ordinance BL 2025-990 and 991. 990 is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government by changing from specific plan to specific plan zoning for property located at 800 North 5th Street at the northwest corner of Arrington Street and North 5th Street. This is 0.19 acres to permit 3 multifamily residential units. And again, the companion 991, which requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings at the property mentioned in 990. Councilman Parker, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to open the public hearing.
All right, I declare the public hearing open for Councilman Parker's bills 990 and 991. Would all members of the public here in support of these bills please raise your hand? Thank you. Would all members of the public here in opposition to these bills please raise your hand? Seeing no one here in opposition, do the persons here in support seek to be recognized? Okay, I'd see you leaning out from behind the column and shaking your head no. And so with that, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move approval of 991 and 990.
All right, is there a second? Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, 990 and its companion 991 have passed their second of 3 readings. Next is Agenda Item 27, Ordinance BL 2025-992, sponsor Toombs. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17, the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by changing from RS5 to MULANS zoning for property located at 115 West Trinity Lane, approximately 515 feet west of Dickerson Pike. This is 0.22 acres. And Ms. Toombs, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Request to open the public hearing.
All right, I declare the public hearing open on Councilmember Toombs' Ordinance 992. Would all members of the public here in support of this bill please raise your hand? Would all members of the public here in opposition to this bill please raise your hand? Seeing no one here on either side, Ms. Toombs seeking to be recognized, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion.
Move for approval.
Is there a second? Okay. Properly moved and seconded, 992. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right. This has passed its second of 3 readings. Next and last on public hearing are agenda items 28 and 29. They are companions to each other. Sponsor Taylor. The first is Ordinance BL 2025-993, an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by amending a specific plan for properties located at 1701, 1703, 1705, 1707, 1709, 1711, 9th Avenue North, and 901 Buchanan Street at the southern corner of 9th Avenue North and Buchanan Street, zoned SP and partially within a detached accessory dwelling unit overlay district. This is 1.08 acres. And again, the companion bill 994, which requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings mentioned at the addresses and properties in 993. Mr. Taylor, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
All right, I declare the public hearing open for Councilman Taylor's bills 993 and 994. Would all members of the public here in support of these bills please raise your hand? Thank you. Would all members of the public here in opposition to these bills please raise your hand? Seeing no one here in opposition, do the persons here in support seek to be recognized or speak? They are shaking their head no, Mr. Taylor. And so with that, I will declare the public hearing closed, and it's back to you for a motion on these bills.
Thank you. I would like to move for approval for items 28 and 29.
All right. Is there a second for that motion? Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, those are the last 2 bills on public hearing. They have passed their second of 3 readings. Okay. With that, we are going to keep rolling. All right, got to get the beverages in order for reading the consolidated consent agenda. So thank you for your patience. Okay. All resolutions and second and third reading ordinances, we are on agenda section K, on this agenda are included on the consent agenda if recommended for approval unanimously by all committees to which the item was referred. Items on the consent agenda will be voted on at a single time. The item number, along with the resolution and ordinance number of the items on the consent agenda, will be read by me, and members of the council may remove any item from the consent agenda by request before the consent agenda vote is taken. All right. Starting with our resolutions proposed for the consent agenda. First among those is our agenda item 32, Resolution 2025-1462. Next is agenda item 34, Resolution 2025-1464. Agenda item 35, Resolution 2025-1465. Agenda item 36, Resolution 2025-1466. Agenda item 37, Resolution 2025-1467. Agenda item 38, Resolution 2025-1468. Agenda item 39, Resolution 2025-1469. Agenda item 40, Resolution 2025-1430. I'm sorry, 1470. Okay, 1470. Agenda item 41, Resolution 2025-1471. Agenda item 42, Resolution 2025-1472. Agenda item 43, Resolution 2025-1473. Agenda item 44, Resolution 2025-1474. Agenda item 45, Resolution 2025-1475. Agenda item 46, Resolution 2025-1476. Now for bills on second reading proposed for the consolidated consent agenda. First among those is agenda item 96, ordinance BL 2025-996. Agenda item 97, ordinance BL 2025-997. Agenda item 98, ordinance BL 2025-998. Agenda item 99, ordinance BL 2025-999. Agenda item 100, ordinance BL 2025-1000. Agenda item 101, ordinance BL 2025-1001. Agenda item 102, ordinance BL 2025-1002. And then next on to bills on third reading proposed for the consolidated consent agenda. First among those, agenda item 104, ordinance BL 2025-866. Agenda item 105, ordinance BL 2025-874. Agenda item 106, ordinance BL 2025-875. Agenda item 107, ordinance BL 2025-911. Agenda item 108, ordinance BL 2025-953. Ordinance 109, ordinance BL 2020, or rather, agenda item 109, ordinance BL 2025-957. Agenda item 110, ordinance BL 2025-959. Agenda item 111, ordinance BL 2025-960. Agenda item 112, ordinance BL 2025-961. Agenda item 113, ordinance BL 2025-962. Agenda item 114, ordinance BL 2025-963. Agenda item 115, ordinance BL 2025-964. Agenda item 116, ordinance BL 2025-965. Agenda item 117, ordinance BL 2025-966. Agenda item 118, ordinance BL 2025-967. Agenda item 119, ordinance BL 2025-968. Agenda item 120, ordinance BL 2025-969. Agenda item 121, ordinance BL 2025-970. Agenda item 122, ordinance BL 2025-971. Agenda item 123, ordinance BL 2025-972. Agenda item 124, ordinance BL 2025-973. Agenda item 125, ordinance BL 2025-974. And lastly, proposed for the consolidated consent agenda, agenda item 126, ordinance BL 2025-975. Do any items need to be removed from the consent agenda? If so, if members would please join the queue to request that. All right, Councilmember Kimbrough, you're recognized, ma'am. Go ahead.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to remove agenda items 105 and 106 from the consent agenda.
Okay. Councilmember Kimbrough has requested agenda items 105 and 106 be removed from consent. Okay, those have been removed, Ms. Kimbrough. Those are regarding Kings Lane. They are companion bills to each other. Those have been removed from consent. Are any other members seeking to be recognized to remove an item from consent? All right, seeing none, Mr. Clerk, are all committee reports in for the items on the consent agenda?
Yes, all committee reports are in.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Members, is there a motion for approval of the consent agenda? Okay, properly moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Okay, council has passed all items on the consent agenda. All righty. Now we will go back in agenda order of items that were not on consent. So back first to resolutions. First is agenda item 30. This is Resolution 2025-1100, sponsors Druffel, Hill, Evans, Ellis, Huffman, Gamble, Nash, Hancock, Allen, Rutherford, Weiner, Johnston, Webb, Vo, and Ewing. This is a resolution requesting Mayor Freddie O'Connell create an advisory working group to explore and determine a coordinating model that supports a long-term sustainable youth policy and strategic plan and analysis of data that extends beyond mayoral administrations. Councilman Druffel, you are recognized, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I'd like to move the substitute.
Mr. Druffel, you need to get the bill before us, please, first, sir.
I'd like
Just
to move
move
the
up.
bill.
Yep, move approval. Is there a second? All right, the bill is before us, and it's back to you, sir, if you want to move that substitute with a brief explanation.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chair.
There's a motion to substitute. Is there a second? Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay. We had a chance to work with the mayor's office. We've been working on this for about 8 or 9 months, and the language got a little stale. But we have also the opportunity, and I appreciate the mayor's office and Dave Rosenberg helping us to work with some of the language. Since then, we have the Department of Youth Safety. We have a lot of progressive aspects, and real excited about the direction and support of where we can go with youth in the future. And I appreciate your support.
All right. There is a motion to substitute. It's properly seconded. You've heard an update and explanation from sponsor Druffel. And so we are on to discussion on the motion to substitute. Ms. Porterfield, do you seek to be recognized on the motion to substitute? All right. You are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I stand in support of the substitute. I want to thank Councilmember Druffel for bringing this substitute. I think it does a really good job at honoring both what he wanted to do, which was to ensure that this plan looks at data from previous administrations, and it also honors the work that the Office of Youth Safety is already doing, and just honoring what the purpose of the Office of Youth Safety, what it was created for. When we created this office, it was always the plan for it to live on its own outside of the mayor's office, and Councilmember Druffel acknowledged that in this substitute. So I just wanted to rise in support and ask my colleagues to support as well.
All right. Thank you. Is there any other discussion on the motion to substitute? Mr. Druffel?
Committee report? Do we have that?
Yes, sir. We can ask for that at this time. We can. This was referred to the Budget and Finance Committee. Let's see. And we've already got some approval motions. Special Counsel Darby, what am I seeing here? We've already made some committee reports prior, but we have one still pending? Okay. Chair of Budget and Finance, Ms. Toombs, on this bill, please, and its substitute.
Budget and Finance voted to recommend approval of the substitute, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting, and voted to recommend approval as substituted, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay. All right. Good catch, Councilwoman Druffel, on getting those committee reports. I appreciate that. So we've got our proper committee reports. We are still on our motion to substitute. Do you seek to be recognized again on the motion to substitute?
Just move for approval.
All right. So we are on the motion to substitute. All in favor of the substitute, please say aye. Okay. Any voting no or abstaining? All right. So now approval is substituted, Mr. Druffel.
Move for approval as substituted. Thank you.
All right. Is there a second? All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right. This resolution has passed as substituted. Next is Agenda Item 31, Resolution 2025-1433, sponsors Porterfield, Evans, Welsh, Huffman, Gadd, Hancock, Swara, and Vo. This is a resolution accepting an air pollution control program support grant from the United States Environmental Protection Agency to the Metropolitan Government, acting by and through the Metropolitan Board of Health for the ongoing collection of data on ambient air concentrations for fine particulate matter in Nashville, Tennessee. Sponsor Porterfield, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports.
All right. Committee report for the meeting of Budget and Finance. Councilwoman Toombs, Chair, you're recognized.
Budget and Finance voted to recommend approval of the substitute, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting, and also voted to recommend approval of the resolution as substituted, 11 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
All right, okay. With that committee report in, it's back to you, Sponsor Porterfield.
I would like to move the resolution.
All right, there's a motion to approve this resolution. It's properly seconded.
Can I move the substitute?
You absolutely, yeah. I just want to get it before us, and go ahead. You can, at this time, move your substitute.
Move the substitute.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the motion to substitute? Ms. Allen, do you seek to be recognized on the motion to substitute? Okay, Ms. Allen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I just wanted to explain the substitute because this bill actually is not about collecting data on particulate matter. That was another resolution, and somehow it got copied onto this one. So this corrects the what the goal is, which is to support activities to protect air quality. So approval of that.
Thank you. So housekeeping, replacing an erroneous caption. All right. So you've heard an explanation of the substitute and the committee report. Is there any further discussion on the motion to substitute? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of the substitute, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, and it's back to you.
Move the resolution as substituted.
Okay, is there a second? Any discussion on that? Seeing none. All in favor of 1433 approval as substituted, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, that has been adopted as substituted. Next is agenda item 33. Resolution 2025-1463, sponsors Toom, Huffman, and Welsh. This is a resolution approving Amendment 4 to a grant from the University of Nebraska to the Metro government, acting by and through the Metro Board of Health, for expenses to attend the City Match Conference and additional monies for services to integrate support services into the perinatal systems of care. Ms. Toombs, you are recognized.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Committee report.
All right, I'll go to you first for yours.
Budget and Finance voted to recommend approval, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay, and Chair Huffman for the report of the Public Health and Safety Committee.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Public Health and Safety recommended approval for this, 12 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay, all right. It's back to you, Ms. Toombs, for a motion. I believe we have kind of a technical matter that may require something other than approval. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
Because the University of Nebraska doesn't sign contracts before other parties sign off, which is in violation of our Rule 17, I move for suspension of the Rule 17.
All right. There is a motion to suspend Rule 17. It is properly seconded. That is for purposes to get this bill in front of us. Is that okay, are there any objections to that suspension of the rules for that purpose? Okay, seeing none, the rules are suspended. Rule 17 is suspended. So it's back to you, Ms. Toombs.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Move for approval.
Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on this resolution? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, we have adopted Resolution 1463. All right, next is bills on introduction and first reading. By rule, all items on first reading shall be voted on at the same time unless requested otherwise by a primary sponsor or by two other members. Do any items need to be removed from the collective vote? Councilmember Gamble, are you seeking to be recognized? Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would call attention to item 50 and 51, BL 2025-1006 and 1007. I would like to request that we pass these on first reading. However, I would like to defer these two items to the first meeting in November. These two items are amending Chapter 17. These items have derived out of the Housing and Infrastructure Study recommendations. They still need to go through the two-meeting process at the Planning Commission, and deferring these to the November 1st meeting will allow time for that process as well as allow more time for community engagement on these particular bills. So that's Bill 2025-106, 1006, and 1007 would like to pass on first reading and a deferral to the first meeting in November.
Okay. Ms. Darby, can we just in that regard go ahead and take these up at this time without objection? So that's just a little bit out of order. But again, as the primary sponsor is requesting approval on first, with the second reading deferred to the meeting of November 4th. Okay. That is both for items 50 and 51. These are ordinances 1006 and 1007. Is there any objection at this time to taking these bills ahead of the consolidated first reading vote? Seeing none. Okay, so that is a motion. Do I hear a second? Okay. So we are on to discussion on that motion. Mr. Druffel, do you seek to be recognized? Go ahead, sir.
No, for another, take another item out.
Okay. Let's just go ahead and dispose of this as this is before us at this time, and then I will come back to you before that consolidated vote, okay? Alrighty, so there is a motion to approve on first reading with second reading deferred to November 4th for both agenda items 50 and 51. I'm seeing no one else seeking to be recognized or discussion. All in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, so we have disposed of 50 and 51. Now, Mr. Druffel, you are recognized, sir, to remove an item from the consolidated vote.
Item number 48.
Okay.
Excuse me, 49.
Okay. Agenda item 49. Okay. Let's see. Mr. Druffel, you are not the primary sponsor of that legislation. And so if you were to remove that from first reading, it would require how many seconds?
Chair, I'm not wanting to remove except to make a couple of comments for the future.
Okay, so you're just removing it from first reading for purposes of making a comment.
That's correct.
Okay. Ms. Darby, do we just need one more second? We ping-ponged on our rules a little bit on how we're going to handle that, if it's 2 or 1, or hold for just a second. Okay, so as Mr. Druffel is not the primary sponsor, it does only then require 2 or more members. So is there a second for Mr. Druffel's motion? Okay, it's properly seconded to pull that as well off first reading. Similar to what we did with Ms. Gamble there, we'll just go ahead and keep rolling at this time. Anybody have any objection to just addressing this at this juncture as long as it's being asked for? Seeing none, okay, Mr. Druffel, what I think I need before you comment though, sir, would be a motion to get it before us. Ms. Gamble, can you move approval on first reading, please, ma'am?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move for approval on first reading.
Okay. All right. So without objection, we're going to take this one a little bit out of order. It's properly seconded. There's no objection to its removal. Go ahead, Mr. Druffel. You're recognized. We're on discussion.
Yeah, I'd like to highlight the infrastructure part of our housing infrastructure plan. If you remember Resolution 2024-288, I won't read the whole thing, but as you get to the bottom, it says land use policy which incorporates affordable and workforce housing strategies, which is great, but they can be supported by existing and planned infrastructure. We've gotten a lot of information on housing suggestions, and I think we're sort of missing this infrastructure component that will be very important. And I would like to ask that the planning department come up with some guidelines or some direction on what their infrastructure is going to look like in the future as we go through, but which will be, I realize there's a lot more to discuss in the fall, but I think this aspect is been a little bit shallow. And so I didn't know if the planning, or I could request that the planning department sort of highlight a schedule or when we could look for more infrastructure suggestions.
At this time, we're on a motion to approve on first reading. You have registered, and I hear your request, and the planning department hears it as well. It is on the record. And so then I would just invite you to have that conversation subsequently or via Council Connect, if that's okay with you, Councilman, at this time, rather than getting into a back and forth with the department related to time and otherwise, okay?
I understand, and we're going to get more information, but I just want to make sure we're heading in the right direction. So I appreciate that.
All righty. Thank you, sir. Is there any further discussion on agenda item 49, ordinance BL 2025-1005? I'm thinking, Ms. Darby, we're taking these a little bit out of order. We always just do this pretty much together. Do I need to have read the caption on this one? Okay, let me make sure to read the caption, colleagues, before we vote. So ordinance 1005, again, sponsored Gamble, Parker, and Benedict, is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, relative to the creation of two new zoning districts called Residential Neighborhood, RN, and Residential Limited, RL, all of which is described in this legislation. All right, so it is properly moved on first reading. It is seconded. We have had our discussion. Seeing no one else seeking to be recognized, all in favor of this item on first reading, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, so this has passed its first reading as well. Anyone else seeking to be recognized to move anything from first reading? Seeing none, is there a motion for all items remaining on first consideration? So that is everything on first consideration minus those that were just approved, 49, 50, and 51. All right. There is a motion properly seconded, and without objection, you have approved all items on first reading. Okay? All right. Now we are on to second reading. Items that were not on consent. First among those is agenda item 91, ordinance BL 2025-948, sponsors Eastlick, Parker, Ellis, Huffman, Bradford, Stiles, and Benton. This is an ordinance to amend section 2.40.115 of the Metro Code of Laws relative to the settlement of violations of the Property Standards Code in chapter 16.24 by the Department of Law. Councilman Eastlick, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you. I move for approval.
I need to get your committee reports first, sir.
I'm no longer the vice chair.
It's just forgetting all those things. No big deal. Chair Hill, you are recognized for the report of government operations and regulations.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. We voted 8 in favor, 0 against for the substitute, and then we voted as substituted as approval, 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Okay. Alrighty, now it's back to you, sir, for a motion on the bill to get it before us.
Thank you. I'd like to move for approval.
All right, is there a second? Okay, properly moved and seconded. It's back to you. Do you want to move your substitute as part of discussion?
I'd like to move the substitute as well.
Okay, is there a second on that? All right, properly moved and seconded. Is there anything you want to share about the substitute, Councilman Eastlick?
Thank you very much. Yes, this was because I was trying to track something that was going through the coach process, and when it got to the end, it didn't work out like I'd hoped. So what it does is gives us all a report about all of the cases that are going to go before environmental court the next week. It will allow us to see when it was originated, how it's progressed, and what position it's in right now. At that point, the council members, the district council members, may be able to talk to the environmental court and find out where it sits, and then maybe y'all can discuss something if there's a plan for that. But what it does is gives us information on violations in our district and allows us to have a heads up when it comes to court.
All right, you've heard an explanation of the substitute by sponsor Eastlick, so we're on to discussion on the substitute. Mr. Parker is saying he does not seek to be recognized on the substitute. Is there any further discussion on the motion to substitute? Seeing none, all in favor of the substitute, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, so Mr. Eastlick, what I need from you now is a motion to approve on second reading as substituted, sir.
Thank you. I'd like to move a motion to approve on second reading.
All right. Is there a second for that renewed motion as substituted? I've heard it. And then Mr. Parker, we're on to discussion. You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I just wanted to thank the sponsor for bringing this forward. As district council members, a lot of times we become aware of these cases and potentially substantive judgments against people for property standards issues. We become aware of them pretty late in the game, sometimes after an order has already been issued by the court. I've had a number of constituents that have reached out to me late in the process, and it's more and more challenging to intervene there where, it's simply something that a few neighbors could have helped out with, on the front end of the process. So I've been mulling over filing something in this space for a while, and I really appreciate the lead sponsor for bringing it in. I think it's going to help us intervene before folks find themselves in very negative situations. So appreciate it.
I appreciate that. Okay. Is there any further discussion on the motion to approve this bill on second reading as substituted? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right, this has passed its second of 3 readings. Next, agenda item 92, ordinance BL 2025-954, sponsors Coopin, Allen, Rutherford, and Stiles, an ordinance amending Title VI of the Metro Code to amend the definition of entertainment transportation vehicles and to regulate the operation of seated sightseeing vehicles. Councilman Coopin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Committee reports, please.
All right, for the report of transportation and infrastructure, Chair Quinn Evans-Siegel, you're recognized, Chair.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee voted 11 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting in favor of the substitute, and 11 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting in favor as substituted.
Thank you, Chair. Back to you, Sponsor Coopin. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I actually would like to move a 1-meeting deferral with a re-referral to Transportation and Infrastructure with a brief comment.
Okay. There is a 1-meeting deferral. It's properly seconded. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. We worked, as you heard earlier, in Transportation Committee. We worked extensively on this bill. I've been working on this for quite a while, and it's something that I saw as a challenge when I first took office and started to engage with entertainment transportation vehicles. We've got 2 very distinct experiences. Again, standing, drinking, and sitting and touring. And so it makes sense. It's good policy to have these in separate chapters of the code. And additionally, then having a 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. permit option that is with a traffic study and goes the speed of traffic is appropriate in one category. It could be both, but having it just in one is appropriate as well. It was interesting to hear public comment earlier with stated opposition to the bill from the department. I would like to share that I haven't heard that, but from the department. But what I've heard is extensive work with them and their legal department, and we've worked closely on this bill. And my understanding is that they are neutral. They're not going to support a bill like this, but they're also not opposed to it. They feel good about where we've gotten it to and the language we've included. So that was just interesting to hear. We've had some productive conversations. In fact, earlier in the hall after the committee meeting, a number of the stakeholders on both sides of this issue were getting together and discussing. So we are setting a meeting for this Friday to go through concerns, try to address them, try to bring everybody together. If we can, great. If not, I would intend to, move forward with this bill at the next meeting. And I welcome people that have any concerns or thoughts out in the public, to make sure they reach out to me this week, preferably, so we can address them towards the next meeting. But again, I think a one meeting deferral back to committee gives us time to analyze it and talk about it with the stakeholders, and then bring it back to y'all for approval.
All right. You have heard Councilman Coupin's explanation for the one meeting deferral motion. It's proper. Second, with a re-referral to Transportation Infrastructure Committee. It has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion on that deferral motion with the re-referral? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay. That is deferred one meeting with a re-referral to Transportation and Infrastructure. Next is Agenda Item 93, Ordinance BL 2025-955, sponsors Ellis, Allen, and Benton. This is an ordinance to amend Section 9.20.020 of the Metro Code of Laws regarding motor vehicle noise within residential zoning districts. Councilmember Ellis, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I want to withdraw with a brief comment.
Go ahead, ma'am.
So the reason that I'm withdrawing this, colleagues, is because after speaking with the commander of the traffic division for MNPD, I learned that patrol officers don't have the ability on their dashboards to determine when a parcel, what the actual zoning is. So the change that I was trying to make to make it illegal specifically for residential areas is not really effective. However, MNPD did say that as the law is currently written, it is enforceable.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Ellis, for your work and for that explanation, and this bill is withdrawn. Next, also Councilmember Ellis, Agenda Item 94, sponsor Ellis and Benton, Ordinance BL 2025-956, an ordinance to amend Chapter 12.40 of the Metro Code of Laws regarding abandoned vehicles and restrictions on street and alley parking. You're recognized again, Ms. Ellis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and I would ask for your help on this as far as the procedure goes. So
sure.
I want to move the bill, and then I want to move the substitute, and then I want to defer the substitute, hopefully once it gets approved. So.
Okay, so first, let's get the bill before us. Okay. So that would just be a motion to approve to start.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, all right, so the bill is before us. Now that the bill is before us, a motion to substitute is proper. So if you would like to make that motion to substitute and perhaps describe your substitute as well, if you would like. Go ahead.
So moved, and
is there a second on the motion to substitute, I presume? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, ma'am.
So to explain on the substitute, after feedback from the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, I changed the size limit from 18,000 pounds down to 10,000 pounds, which covers the Class 3 vehicles. But I'm also still, making the restriction on the box trucks, the food trucks, and the food trailers, as it's important for, residents in our neighborhood to have a clear line of sight as they're passing down their highways. And also, making sure there's a balance for these large commercial vehicles that are actively loading and unloading vehicles, or if they're permitted to operate in such manner by Metro. And so, in short, I would say that this substitute is an effort to keep our streets safe for neighbors.
Alrighty. Ms. Ellis, I forgot off the top, we need to get your committee reports as well.
Oh, committee reports.
Okay. And so first for the report of government operations and regulations, Chair Hill on 956, please, Ms. Ellis's bill. Oh, pardon me, ma'am. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. We voted on the substitute, 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting. And then we voted to approve as substituted, 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
All right, thank you, ma'am. And Chair of Transportation and Infrastructure, Quinn Evans-Siegel, on the report of your committee, please.
The Transportation and Infrastructure Committee voted 11 in favor, 0 against, and 0 not voting in favor of the substitute. And as substituted, the committee voted 5 in favor, 5 against, and 0 not voted.
Okay, so Ms. Ellis, that was a little bit out of order on my part, and so that means that you have your committee reports. The bill is before us. Now there is a motion to substitute. You have described the substitute, and so we are on to discussion on the motion to substitute, okay? Is there any further discussion on the motion to substitute? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of the substitute, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, the substitute is on the bill. So now at this juncture, Ms. Ellis, as I understand it, now that the substitute is on the bill and the bill is substituted, you want to amend your motion to defer. And I apologize, that is to refer it to the Traffic and Parking Commission. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, that would be the meeting of October 13th, as I understand it. And then it would be back here at council for the second meeting in October? Okay, so then there is a motion or I would suggest a motion to defer to the second meeting in October. Is the deferral to the referral to traffic and parking is by rule? She doesn't need to incorporate that in her motion? Okay, we've stated it with a referral to traffic and parking on the meeting of October 13th.
And I would like to add, once it comes back from tracking and parking, I want it to get re-referred to the
transportation infrastructure.
Yes.
Okay, and thank you. So there's basically three things on that now. Defer to second October meeting, refer to Traffic and Parking Commission, a meeting of October 13th, and once it comes back to council, it will be re-referred to the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Does that reflect the entirety of your motion?
For the viewing audience that's tracking, that puts it back on the council agenda for October the 21st.
Correct. Thank you. All right. Is there a second for that motion? Okay. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right. That will be deferred to the second October meeting. All right, on to agenda item 95, ordinance BL 2025-995, sponsors Parker, Hill, Bradford, Vo, Benedict, and Allen. This is an ordinance amending sections 10.26.010, 10.28.010, and 16.24.330 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws pertaining to intentional designs for vegetative growth. Councilman Parker, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Thank you. First, for the report of Transportation and Infrastructure, Chair Evan Siegel.
The Transportation and Infrastructure Committee voted to approve with 11 in favor, 0 against, and 0 not voting.
Thank you. And for the report of the Government Operations and Regulations Committee, for Mr. Parker's Bill 995, Chair Hill.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. We voted to defer one meeting, 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 not voting.
Oh, okay. All righty. One meeting deferral. And so with that, Councilman Parker, per Rule 8.1, that is a mandatory one meeting deferral. Okay? Okay. All right. Next, we're on to bills on third reading that were not on the consent agenda. First among those is Agenda Item 103, Ordinance BL 2025-837, sponsors Huffman, Gregg, Evans, Horton, Spain, Parker, Coupin, and Benedict. This is an ordinance amending Section 17.20.030 of the Metro Code of Laws to eliminate the minimum parking requirement for the bar and nightclub use. Councilman Huffman, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move for a one meeting deferral.
All right. There is a motion to defer one meeting. Is there a second? Okay. Is there any discussion on the motion to defer? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? All right. That will be deferred one meeting to the second meeting in September. Okay. Next is Agenda Item 105 and 106. They are companions to each other. sponsor Kimbrough. 105 is ordinance BL 2025-874, and 106 is ordinance BL 2025-875. 874 is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metro Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metro government, by changing from RS10 to SP zoning for property located at Kings Lane, unnumbered, approximately 122 feet east of Haynes Park Drive. This is 5.09 acres to permit 48 multifamily residential units. And again, 875 restricts certain or requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings at the addresses in 874. Ms. Kimbrough, you are recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I move to defer items 105 and 106, a one meeting deferral.
One meeting deferral for 105 and 106. Is there a second for that motion? Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the deferral? Seeing none, all in favor of a one meeting deferral, please say aye. Any voting no or abstaining? Okay, those are deferred to the next meeting in September. And with that, that concludes this evening's agenda. Our next council meeting will be on Tuesday, September 16th. Is there a motion to adjourn? All right, we are adjourned. 9:30.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.